Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Soul Goals Podcast. I'm Dawn, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. This podcast is dedicated to bringing people's stories to light and hearing their journeys of inspiration and self-growth. But it's also about connection and knowing that you are not alone. Each week, I get the chance to sit down and talk with an amazing soul, someone I've had the blessing of either meeting or following in my life. I am so grateful for my guests. Their openness and their vulnerability, it is unmatched as we share heartfelt conversations together about both their challenges and their triumphs. I hope that you can grab some inspiration and connection from my guests and their stories. I know I certainly have with each conversation. What an honor to sit with these brave souls. Everyone has a story, folks. And every story matters. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Soul Goals. My name is Dawn. I'm so excited to have you joining us today for another great story from an amazing soul. This one's special to me because she's been in my daughter's lives for quite a few years back with their sports. So I'm so pumped that Pri took the time out of her extremely busy schedule. And she's also getting ready to birth a child in the next couple of weeks, FYI. So she's really busy. I so appreciate you taking this time and being able to come on and talk to us about your path, about your why, about your journey as a whole. Because you've been everywhere. You are a renowned beach volleyball coach and player. Started playing, however, this is interesting because I knew that you played indoor volleyball, but that's really where you started. And you grew up in Brazil, in Rio. So the indoor started shortly before beach started for you, which I think is interesting. And then the way you found your way to the United States from Brazil is on a full ride scholarship to play at University Louisiana Lafayette. Go Raging Cajuns, right? She still has the hands. I like it. Yes. And you still hold accolades there and records, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Yeah. When you left college, that is when you revisited your love of beach volleyball and decided, I'm doing this professionally. So that record goes on to the AVP, FIVB, NVL, international play representing Brazil, which we'll talk a little bit about in our talk as well. But basically, you've been everywhere. And now I think one of the most exciting things beyond you having a baby, right, in a couple of weeks, is that you have been named the head coach of the new program at USF, the new beach volleyball program, University of South Florida. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
There we go. It's another hand gesture. Let's go. I love that. Gosh, so your baby's name is Mila. I'm going to call her Miracle Mila because you and your wife, Michelle is also a volleyball coach. She's the indoor volleyball coach for Eckerd volleyball in...
Go Tritons.
Wait, hold on. The Tritons.
A C and a C.
Oh, Lord have mercy, Pri. I can't... You just like, you can do all of those so fast. I have to work on that one. That one's a bad one for me. But I do want to get into that conversation too about how you met your wife and the journey that you have been through with her and her breast cancer that she went through. And she's a survivor, a walking, talking miracle herself. So guys, please welcome to the show, my friend, Pri Lima. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I watched Nicole's because that's my girl. And it was, I was crying and I was, and I watched some of your other podcast interviews and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then when you contacted me, I was like, yes, of course, I'll do it.
Oh, great. I love that. I think you've been such an integral piece in the world of volleyball. So let's go into exactly where you started, but let's spring back and forth between the fact that what you're doing now is growing the game so beautifully. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that really strikes me the most is that even through the physicality and the ability and the drills and the things that you teach fundamentally about playing the game of beach volleyball, you have such a fundamental, deep drive to address the mental capacity and the mental game itself. And I think that's a piece that a lot of coaches miss. And I want to know, does that come from your experience? Does that come from your education? Does that come from you watching other people go through that? Where does that fundamental piece come from? Was it always within you at the young age of 15?
I think a little bit of everything, right? Like I think like life taught me a lot of things.
Mhm.
Then I realized I wanted to help these juniors when I started coaching them, and then the upcoming pros.
Right.
Like, hey, I'm trying to give you my perspective as a player. I know what it feels like to be in those shoes where I'm building to prove myself to be better and get the results that I've ever dreamed about.
Yeah.
But I also like being a coach, it's like I also can see bigger picture. So kind of like a mix of everything, but experience as a person, that's how you start building who you are and what you want to be.
Yes.
So that was huge for me, trying to provide psychological safety,
Yeah.
but for them to understand that I am me too. And like, I resonate a lot with, like not with her, but like we love my wife and we love Pat Summit.
Yes.
She's a tough
Yeah.
coach, right?
Yeah.
Great tight relationships with her players. And Kim Mulkey just said like I was coached by the greatest, and Pat was one of them. So I
Right.
try to show them like, hey, there's this like tough love. I'm holding you accountable, but you know that this is best for you. But here
Mhm.
are all the reasons why, and then we provide the safety. We don't show up one day mad, one day super happy. They know when I'm like I call pissed off for greatness, or I'm silly with them. But the standard to what's okay, what's not okay, it's always the same. So that's
Yes.
where the psychological safety comes. No matter like where I'm in that day, it's not moody. It's just a focus, right?
Right.
It's not like I hope nobody has ever said, "Oh, I don't know which mood Pri's gonna be in today," right? Because I try not to. I hope have never done that. Once I became more of an adult, maybe when I was
Right.
younger, I would show up fiery Brazilian all the time. There's no other mood. When
Right. Right.
we were younger, when I was younger, but I try to create that psychological safety, based on what I learned as a person growing up and what I thought was better for me, and then alongside my experience as a player, what did it take for me to be there? Because I mean, it's hard to consider that I had like an incredible career when I have so many friends that had even better careers. But
Yeah.
I recognize the impact. I go, hey, but I was memorable, like they remember me, like, and
Yeah.
that was like being an underdog and having fun while at it, and then making yourself memorable means that you were something.
I love
So
that.
that's
Yeah.
where it kind of comes from, like just a little bit of both worlds for me.
Yeah, I love the accountability factor. And I want to go back to something that you said too about, like you said, yeah, I hope no one says, oh, that, when you come in that she's this way or she's that way. I think that fieriness of you from your culture and where you grew up is a big part of who you are, and the range that you described, anywhere from here to here, that accountability.
Mhm.
And I'm curious to know, do you feel like other coaches resonate with that as well that you've seen, or do you feel like that's something that there's still room for growth? Maybe it's from a point of you have to experience first, like you talked about, just being mature in your game and in your philosophies and in your beliefs too.
I think that's a huge spectrum, because you have young coaches who probably need more time to be experienced with their own emotions as well. And they're also building who they are, right? They're in their 20s, early 30s. Like, I joke, I was like, hey, when I got to 40, now is adulting. Now I know
Yeah.
what adulting means. 30s is not adulting yet. You
Yeah.
don't know a lot of yourself, and hopefully you're still working. But I think nowadays there's the new wave coaches who are very like gentle coaching, like a gentle parenting type of view, and
Mhm.
they ask a lot of questions. So there's a lot of like, we're kind of like in between this mix of like old school coaching and new era coaching. And I
Okay.
feel like I'm like in between,
Yeah.
like,
But you can
definitely.
go either way.
Yes. And I think I like the challenge of figuring out what kids need,
Yeah.
right? But I also like the challenge of like make them understand that life is not just about me meeting you your way, but you need to meet others halfway and understand
Yes.
where people are coming from. So it's kind of like that challenge of like, I'm gonna see what they need, but I'm gonna make them see what, like, hey, other people needs other things, and we need to
Yeah.
change to win. right? Like
Yes.
whether there's in life or there's a team or there's a match or whatever. So I think like coaching, there's such a huge spectrum of those new wave coaches, new coaches,
Yeah.
coaches that are more gentle, more relationship, coaches that are tougher, but younger coaches. Sometimes I had a coach that he was in Brazil. He was wise beyond his years, and we were older than him, and he was
Okay.
our assistant coach. And we're like, we want you to coach us.
Okay.
He was great, and he was younger, but we're like, we want you to be our head coach.
Yeah.
But I've had older head coaches that are like, whoa, like,
Not going there.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're not getting anywhere because I think you just like, the ups and downs emotionally. It's like, it's not helping us. It's not helping
Yeah.
you. This is not a good environment. So we probably don't need to stick together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's just like self journey, right? And what you're
Mhm.
looking for. And once you figure it out, I would say leaving home at 19, I had a goal of like start building my character and what I wanted, like in terms of relationships.
Mhm.
And then after 25, there was a second round of like, I'm going to redo from the bottom because I had a huge breakup that broke me. I was
Mhm.
like, well, I'm going to build myself and do the best I can do to be the best I can be, to the
Mhm.
point that I call my best friends like, who am I? And she goes, you're great. I said, tell me, who am I? And then
Yeah.
she goes, you're a good person. And she told me, I was like, no, tell me the bad things because I want to fix those.
Oh, wow,
Like
Pri.
that's how lost I was. And then, as somebody that I trusted and loves me unconditionally till today, and I could trust her to give me those examples of, character of myself because she's known me for so long.
Yeah.
And then that's when I truly started my journey of always working on myself and trying to better myself.
Yeah, you were 19. That's a
That was when I
really
was 25.
okay.
When I
But
was
it's
19,
still
I came out with like, just like my mom and my grandma fought a lot. So I grew up in the middle of that fight.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of coming out from seeing their relationship and being in the middle of that relationship and
Mm.
having to also fight for my spot or whatever that was. And other,
Yeah.
just like everybody, but I had, problems with my father, my mom, and then relationships between my grandparents. It was all that stuff is just like, okay, when I left home, I was like, okay, I really want to have long-term relationships because I've watched my mom not having long-term
Right.
friendships. I
Right.
really want to like treasure these people that are with me. I want to make sure they last. No, I don't want to be moody or I don't like
Mhm.
to argue and yell and fight, even though like whoever knows me on volleyball would never know that, but I hate confrontation. Outside the court, I'm on the court, I'm gonna fight you, but
But outside of it, like, that's your
yeah,
job. I get that. I get that. I get that.
so like it's and a lot of those things obviously I have to like now that I've been married for 10 years together for
Mhm.
12 work on that emotional side that came from the childhood of like never being able to speak when I was upset. So
Yeah.
whenever we were maybe having an argument or something and my wife is looking for words and I'm like,
I have none.
I don't know what I had no touch with words.
Wow.
I just knew how to like that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, everything comes, I guess, from my decisions came from having these experiences and deciding what I want to be. I knew what I didn't want to be. And it's funny because we say, oh, if you say, think yellow elephant, now that all you see is that, right? So
Right.
for a while, I was like, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like this. And then I was like, that's all I saw in my life. And then I was like,
Yeah.
no, I need to change the focus to what do I want to be? And
Uh-huh.
then I started working towards what I want to be.
Oh, that's magnificent. And I think about you as a 15-year-old finding volleyball. Do you think in the midst of all of that relational trauma that you were stuck in, do you think that that was a saving grace for you, or was that just something that just how did that materialize in your life, and how did that come about for
Yeah.
you?
Well, fun fact, I used to dance before playing
Whoa.
volleyball. Yeah.
Okay, so I know you love dancing, but I didn't know that you actually like that was what you did.
Yeah, I did like jazz, Brazilian folk, we call African dance in
Oh,
Brazil. I've done ballet, but just for a little bit because now I was too tall, got too big. And then but my even more of a fun fact, my specialty was flamenco dance from Spain.
whoa.
Yeah, so I was doing rehearsals and all that, and even like started teaching beginners at the age of 15.
Oh my
And then I
gosh.
started playing volleyball. And then my dad was like, oh, I know a coach and let's put you on a tryout. And then when I made it, I was like, I love this. And then I
Yeah.
quit dancing, started playing volleyball.
Wow. Was your family like, oh my gosh, she's not dancing anymore? Like that was such a gift for her. Now she's going a completely different direction?
No, I've always been like, my mom had to work. She was a single mom, so she had to
Mhm.
work. So I've always been kind of like, hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm doing this. And then she'll come check it out. And then I was on my own,
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Very independent.
yes. So it's something that my wife tells me, like, you did life alone your entire life. And sometimes she's like, you're not alone anymore. You can, like, we're here together.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just go through my problems or through my stuff and I'm just figuring it out myself versus, sharing.
Yeah.
It's getting
And you
better.
well, it's we're still always learning. Like you're in your 40s and this is
Mhm.
still something that that you deal with and that comes up for you. But the difference is you're not running from it, you
Yeah.
know?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And the experiences I think that you have, I always tell people like the experiences that you have that you put that this was a bad experience or this was a good experience teach you really what you want to do. It's like it goes back to what you were talking about. I didn't want to be like that. I did change the perspective and change my mindset to look at something from a different angle so that I knew what direction I really wanted to go.
Yeah.
And did that start once you moved to the United States or were you still in Brazil when
Yeah.
it happened?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had some awareness, but when you're like in there, it's got, it's hard you're in survival mode,
Yeah.
right? So you don't know any better but to survive. So like going back to your question in terms of like when I started playing volleyball, I had more hours out, outside of the house. I had
Mhm.
less time with those problems and I could make more excuses to go somewhere else. And we had games in the weekends. So it started creating this higher level of like independence to where I was like, oh, I can figure out ways where things get bad at home. I can just, go somewhere else
Yeah.
and just like take a break.
Yeah. And now having to go back to that as an adult and realize that that's what you were doing, it's like someone with an addiction. I would say like I'm grateful for my addiction because it shaped me. It helped me survive the place where I was
Mhm.
in, but it also helped me to understand what I needed to do, what I didn't need to do. I mean, there's so many lessons that I think that come along with all that. But as we grow, we still have those defining moments that happen. Like your wife saying, you're not alone. You're not doing this alone anymore.
Yeah.
How hard is that for you when she says that? Is it hard for you to take that in? Or are you at a point now where you're like, okay, I feel that?
In the beginning, it when she first said it, it hit me. And I was like,
Mhm.
I honestly, because of how life worked, right? Like I didn't we all have problems. Like I
Yeah.
had a mom that loved me a lot, but then on the other side, she loves me a lot. She still loves me in her ways,
Yeah.
but on the side, she wasn't the person I thought she was. She created a lot of chaos around our family.
Mhm.
But, so and then once I came to the United States, my number one goal was I don't want to be a burden, especially a financial burden to her, because that's
Okay.
one of the biggest complaints that she had. And she'll go to my grandparents and get money from this. Like, this is not it's going to happen because of me. So from
Right.
there on, that was my independence, like
Mhm.
emotionally, financially, whatever. So when she first said, like, you're not alone, and I realized how alone I was because
Wow.
nobody knew, like
Yeah.
everything I went through, like to the T, because I went through it alone with myself.
Yeah.
Nobody was around me, no matter if I was full of people. Like I would talk to my friends about certain things, but like the deep stuff.
Was by yourself.
Mhm.
When you met your wife, how hard was it for you to finally open up and accept that you're not alone?
I didn't know I wasn't open. I'm a very open person, and I would talk to people about whatever aspect of my life or whatever. I always say I let people fail me on purpose, so I trust people.
Okay.
Most people, right? Obviously, now I'm older. I'm like, hey, let me get to know you a little better. But I've
Yeah.
always been like super open. But when it gets to like real deep feelings and stuff, I didn't know I had to work on communication because she's a words type of person. She needs the
Yeah.
words, and then I figured out I had no words. It's like I don't know why I have no words. And
Yeah.
then it started like trailing back. Oh, I grew up like this when we were kids. Oh, you're crying, go to the bathroom, don't come out until you're done crying. So there's no
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of like Brazil and Latin families, maybe like there's a lot of hierarchy,
Mhm.
right? Age, you respect the elderly and all that, which
Mhm.
I love that. But it's to the point that even the other day, my mom is here waiting, obviously, for her first grandchild to be born.
Yes.
He goes, well, you're 44, I'm 67. And I'm like, and when you were 44 and I was 20,
Eh,
21,
yeah.
you were an adult. So now I'm not an adult. It's like, what's your point of throwing numbers? So now obviously I'm more aware. But
Yes.
I didn't know. It took a good 6 to 7 years for us to notice how much I wasn't able to express myself in
Mm.
with words when I was in extreme some type of emotional discomfort.
Right, right. And your Brazilian roots is very expressive. So that's so interesting to me, and it shows the level of emotional discomfort, like you said, the things that we're involved in, and what it can do to your soul, and how it can shut
Mhm,
you down.
mhm.
So when you moved to the United States to play collegiate ball, tell me a little bit more about how that felt to leave that scenario where you grew up and to be in a new space with new people around you and still feeling that independence that was going on with you.
Well, I've always been a little daredevil, so I was like, "Oh, this is so exciting!"
Okay.
But when I left home, my little brother was 6 months old, so we're like almost 20 years apart,
Oh,
and
wow.
I had two other cousins that I'm super close to, so that broke my heart. I
Mm.
cried every day my first fall semester, and I was like, "I don't know if I can do this," because I also knew that we didn't have money for me to come back to go back to Brazil
Yeah.
only every 2 years.
Wow,
So I
Pri.
knew I was there for 2 years, not for a semester, and then coming home. So, but then once the first semester finished, the former assistant coach, he was a local guy. He
Mhm.
took me to the beach volleyball facility that they have like in town called Volley Beach, and then
Okay.
I met all the locals over there. And then I was like, I love it here. I'm never leaving.
Yes, yes.
And that turnaround like that I was like, okay, now I can stay here. My college coach for the first 3 years, he was not a good person. He was not
Mm,
a good coach. He was not fair.
yeah.
Like it was something that not a lot of people got along with him. But I had this Brazilian thing that was like fairness to me is huge. So I
Yes.
stand up to him. Probably not the best thing, that you will hear
Yeah.
collegiate players doing to their coach, but I'll be like, show me.
Yeah.
He would ask me to,
Yeah.
it's like, show me. I said, we're your
Yeah.
best passers. Why you want to change us? Like let's say stuff.
Yeah.
But like the community of like the community of Volley Beach, like they literally saved me and they like family to me too today.
Yeah. Would you say that that was a defining point for you? A
That was
turning
yeah,
moment for you?
yeah. They supported me in so many ways, like
Mhm.
emotionally, that they didn't even know. Right.
Right.
They were a
Right.
safe place that I, started going to. I met great people that are in my life too today. And it was my escape from I got to escape from home, and then I also got to escape now from like the bad
From your
relationship I
coaching
had with my
situation.
coach. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I couldn't wait to go to Volley
Mm.
Beach every day and
Yeah.
just be around them.
What was one of the hardest points for you in your college ball? If you had to put your finger on something?
Definitely around my sophomore year and junior year because we weren't getting better. He was just nothing was good with the team.
Mm.
We had
Mhm.
some girls that didn't take the team seriously, and they there was no rules. He wouldn't hold anybody accountable, and I was crying every day. My student athlete advisor's office was like,
Oh, no.
I didn't even know about transferring either. I only knew
Okay.
it maybe later in as a junior, but I was like, oh my God, I was like, it was just a rough time. And,
Yeah.
and, but then in my senior year, thank goodness, like, thank God we got like an amazing coach. She came, she had played WPVA, which is the professional league before AVP combined both genders. So she played professional beach. She played
Okay.
volleyball for Purdue and she was awesome.
Oh,
And she
that's
was
great.
tough and she was like, lay down the law. She kicked some people out. Some
Mhm.
people quit. We ended up playing my senior year with 7 total players the entire season.
What? And there's like 6 on the floor, and you
Mhm.
think about you
And
have 1 sub.
no liberos.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So
Oh,
that
that's a lot.
thankfully I was a middle and the other middle was also Brazilian. We were like we spent the 4 years together and we
Yeah.
both came from the same club in Brazil. So that was one of my best friends since I was 15.
Okay.
Um, and we could play all the way around. We play all the way around an entire career. So we didn't need a libero anyway.
Yeah.
But
You
we
were
got to
able
do
to.
some subs sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you think that that indoor really shaped you moving forward into your beach career then?
Yeah, I always say both can help each other a lot.
Mhm.
I think the speed and physicality of indoor, right? Your eye work is so fast. You have three hitters, possibly four, the setter dump or whatever.
Yeah.
You're moving. Same thing on defense or being middle. You got to move everywhere. So that speed, that eye work is so good. You have to hit against, one, two, sometimes three blockers, and you have three defenders. Minimum three defenders behind, and you have to
Mhm.
put the ball down. And then beach just makes you like you have to suck to the end, right? There's no sub.
Right.
It's like, oh,
Right.
you're sucking? Okay, well, there's nothing we can do. You're going to have to finish the set, suck, and figure it out and come back on the second one. So, like
Wow.
the mental toughness of beach, really, it's something that I don't think you can teach anywhere else. You have to play beach to be able to become that mentally tough.
Have that
And the
experience.
ball
Yes.
control. So I was a ball hog. I loved it. I got to touch more balls, have more
I love
control,
that.
more control of the game.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's where like both of them have always shaped me in a way. But I love beach. That's what
What what was your favorite moment in college before leaving? I asked you what your most uncomfortable moment was, but what was your favorite moment of being an indoor player, collegiate indoor player?
Playing wise was obviously my senior year because I got in as a freshman, like a preseason all conference. Sophomore year I was second team
Yeah.
conference. Junior year, nowhere near to be seen.
Oh, what? Whoa.
Because look, we go from down, we go from good to bad to nowhere. And then
Yeah.
my senior year, with the help of Becky and her coaching, I was like all tournament for every preseason tournament, and I got first team all conference. Like it's not because of the accolades. This is how good I got, right?
Yeah.
Because of her, like she brought me back to the level when I told us like I want to play professionally, and I knew she played beach. I was like, I'll like tell me what to do. Like
Yeah.
thankfully, I've always had this mindset of like I knew where I was. Never thought I was more than what I was,
Mhm.
but I always asked like, tell me what to do so I
Right.
can be better to get to my goals.
Yeah, that growth mindset.
Yeah.
You have to have that growth mindset if you're
Mhm.
going to pursue something that is so mentally challenging. I
Mhm.
love what you said, like, you kind of have to embrace the suck. Like, if you're
Yeah.
in the middle of something, you just gotta get
Mhm.
through it. Okay,
Mhm.
it's not going away. I tell my girls this, it's not going away. You gotta go through it.
Yeah.
You just gotta go through it.
And I think my biggest pride playing is like I've always been the heart of the team. I
Mhm.
never let the heart stop beating, so I never stopped fighting or whatever. Whether it's for my teammates when the coach was bad or in the game, I was
Yeah.
never the captain to talk to the referee or whatever because I was too spicy at that time. I don't know, but 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 it's something like there's always a bigger driving force behind me
Mhm.
than just and I play volleyball. I'm glad to be here. I wanted to be better than what I was the last point, and
Yeah.
that drove me. And I got a coach that understood me and pushed me, and we had a great relationship till today. I love her to death, and I'm so thankful for her.
That's great. It sounds like she saved your love of the game probably as well?
Oh, he didn't kill my love of the game.
Okay.
I would
You were
never
like, "I'm
do
on
that.
that." You just needed somebody to step in and go, "Hey, I support you. I
Yeah.
got your back."
I wanted somebody to be fair and
Yeah.
coaches to a higher level. And
Yeah.
we come a little bit more like I always say like internationals, they become a little bit more professionally minded
Okay.
to the US. So we're like, come on, give it to
Yeah.
us. We're ready. And
Yes.
he wasn't able to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you stuck it out.
Yeah.
Then you got that gift that senior year. When you left college, you decided to go pro for beach volleyball. And I thought it was interesting when I was looking into your past that you missed qualifying for the main draw on your first tryout. I want to know what that did for you, how that fired you up, because I feel like that fired you up.
Well, yes, like it's a funny story. I went to play Fuddpuckers, which is a fun 4-on-4 tournament in
Yeah.
Destin, Florida.
Yeah.
And I was in Louisiana with my friends. And
Okay.
then this lady comes to me, and at that time, she might have been about my age now, or maybe a little younger. And she goes, "Hey, you're kind of good. Like you should play on the AVP." And I'm like, "What is that?"
Oh, wow. You didn't know what that was at that point.
No, I was just a
Oh,
foreigner living inside Louisiana Lafayette and Volley Beach. That wasn't
well,
my life. Yeah.
yeah.
And she's like, oh, it's the pro tour. She goes, look. And then she told me, hey, my name is Mary. I played on the WPVA. And then here's the AVP. It's just like, look, there's a stop in San Diego. She's like, I'm from San Diego. My family's from there. We have a place to stay. All you have to do, like, just get your tickets and let's go play. People need to see you.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I go, oh my gosh, I was just recently graduating. And I go, I don't know if I'm going to have money. Like, like like us foreigners, we never know what kind of opportunity we're going to have. And we're still in school, so we can't make money per se, all that. So I was like, I'll try my best and I'll let you know. I was coaching. I coached my entire collegiate career, club and high school in Lafayette.
Okay.
And this family that I became really close to, they gave me this like really cool purse, like a big purse. And I was like, as a graduation gift. So, and they're like, you love it? I was like, oh my God, I love it. And I open it and I get this envelope and it's tickets to go to San Diego.
Oh, Pri, I just got chills.
And that's how I got to my first tournament.
Oh, I love that.
We got there, like, at that time, Mary was dating Dave Culpepper, who used to put the entire site up, all the courts, all the tents, everything, main court, whatever. So that was one of the first people, the first person I've ever met on the AVP. Anyway, so we were number 72 out of 74 in the qualifier when qualifiers were open and everybody was playing, had to win 5 rounds. And Mary hadn't played, like, obviously train or whatever. She's a PT around that area of Fort Walton or Gulf Breeze, I think. And then I was like, okay, let's play, right? So we started playing, and we ended up making to 3 rounds.
Yeah,
we lost on the 3rd round, which is pretty good. Like, she's not training. I'm just going and play.
Yeah.
And then at that tournament, I met the number 17th in the qualifier.
Okay.
And then she was like, hey, I would love to play with you, but I'm getting married on the next one. Can we play the next one after that, which is Hermosa in California? I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I mean, I'm 74 to 17. I'm winning.
Totally on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mary and I didn't qualify, but it's not like and then when I played, I was like, I want to do this.
Yes.
That's what I want to do.
That fire, that Brazilian fire.
I didn't know when we leave Brazil and we come over here back in the day. Now it's different. Yeah. It's like your career is over. You're not going to go pro.
Okay.
So to find a way to dab into pros again, it was like, oh, let me try. Let me see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, that's my first go around on the tour. After that, I qualify every single time.
That's amazing.
And the next time was with Mary. We qualify in New Jersey.
Oh, I love it.
And it was everybody from Volley Beach that put money together and gave me a card so I could buy my tickets to go to New Jersey.
Pri, that support is magnificent. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm telling you, those people, they never let me down. They're so, I could cry about it because they're so special.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, obviously you're special to them too. So we'll just throw that, just going to throw that one out there. But yeah, beyond just the athleticism that you have and that you had at that point to be able to throw yourself in to play with these people you've never played with before, not really been training, and then decide I'm doing this. Tell me how that mental game had to be for you to go that strong, I'm doing this, and how that carried you through.
Yeah. So for me, it's something that I still talk to my players. Once I saw what was out there in the qualifier leading up to main draw, I was like, okay, so now I know how crisp my shots and hits need to be, where people sit on defense, how they block, how high they block. So I had that in my head. And then all I knew was how I train in Brazil. Right. Okay. So I would put my friends, my lady friends at that time, they were older than me, a little younger than I am right now, but I will put them like, we're going to run drills like that. So we're going to play like that. Then I would train guys to be better so they can challenge me. Yeah. And I will play. Then on the league, it was like men's co-ed 4s. And I'll put a team with 2 guys and myself. But when you play co-ed, like the girl always has to touch the ball. So they will always serve a guy. My setter was another guy. So they had to set me. And then we played a rotational defense where it was a blocker up and a guy literally inside the 10-foot line just for the cut. And I will play everything else like doubles. Okay. And I'm on the men's net. And then I started playing lots of like women's open in Louisiana. And then I started playing men's open in Louisiana, going to semifinals and losing like 15-13 to go to the finals. I just kept like challenging myself to a level that it was hard for me to win. I never set anything up for me to win.
Okay.
It was, so I think that was the mindset, the toughness, the mindfulness of like, this is not a level where I'm going to win a lot. It's a level where I need to learn how to fight to win a lot. So I would put myself in this situation, create these drills and do whatever I need to do where everything was a lot harder for me to be successful. And I just gave my all. And then somehow, I don't know how it kind of, worked very well, because I kept on qualifying every time, no matter who I played with, because I played the first with Mary, the second with Mary, qualified. Then I want to say I played 3, maybe 4 with Carrie. It would qualify every time. And then there was one tournament back in Hermosa the next year. A friend of mine said, hey, if you play with this girl, Angela Lewis, you guys are going to be in the main draw straight.
Oh.
Number 24 out of 32. So we kind of talked to each other. I didn't even have a phone. I talked to her from Volley Beach on the phone with Volley Beach. So you want to do this? Okay. So we met the day before. We were in the main draw and we got a win, which was huge already, right? For 2 rookies, her and I. So, and then Angela and I ended up playing for like another 3 or 4 years together.
Oh, that's a great relationship.
Yeah. And then we started 24th in the nation, and then we finished 9th in the nation.
Well, all of this sounds very strategic based on your upbringing and based on where your skill and your game was rooted, basically, Brazilian roots.
Yeah.
That's still something that you deliver, like you said today. You still talk to your players, both your juniors and as well as your professional players that you train. How do they receive that?
Well, it depends. They all receive it well. I feel like I have really clear, meaningful conversations with them. They understand it's coming from a loving place wherever but like it also depends on the day, right? If they're frustrated, are they going to understand? Are they, not that they're not accepting what I'm saying, but it's really going to go in. So depending when and where, how we're using these conversations, but I just get to talk to them about that over and over and over again. It's normal. It's human nature, right? Depending where you are emotionally, how much you're going to take in from a conversation. But it's just giving examples. And I always tell them, like, it's not about, when I tell you the story, it's not about me. I'm telling you stories of what I know. I'm telling a story of what I've done, where you want to be. And then I would say, hey, when I was playing I remember thinking about this way. What do you think about that? When I have, like, it's been such a cool ride. I started coaching Kim Hildreth in the last 3 years. She's been having best results of her lives, consistently playing a really high level. And then, this year I have my junior, Kennedy Coakley, who's going to be a freshman at USC, got picked up by an Olympian, Brooke Sweat, coming back from 2 knee surgeries and I think 2 years off. But like, it's really cool that I can't believe Brooke is driving an hour and a half, every week to when she has a court in her backyard, just so I can coach both of them for 2 days. And then they go back and work at her house, So it's been really cool. So even with Brooke, I was like, hey, I mean, you're an Olympian, I understand, but like, what do you think about this? But like, we have a good relationship and solid relationship off the court, and we already had it. And I feel it's getting even better now that we get to work. And I was like, wow. And then I try to tell my younger players, like, look, this is an Olympian. It should be like, look, Pri, I have success. So I don't need to change where she doesn't. She doesn't at all. The higher level players I have, the less they retaliate on coaching or whatever. They might have a good conversation. They might give me where they're coming from, but they go like, well, but I didn't, they don't do that at all.
Yeah.
The younger
it's the growth mindset. They are still wanting to grow in their game.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah. But they know like that changing is good, that, or they're not attached to like, this is what I did and I'll be successful. And that's something that I told my younger players and some of my older players, like my biggest motto is that I grew up idolizing, from a Jackie Silva, who won the first Golden Olympics, of Sheldon Adriana from Brazil, who were the Misty and Carrie before Misty and Carrie came, who are Misty's idols. That's how good they are.
Yeah.
And then Misty, and then Holly McPeak and all these, and I was like, and I never saw them in any practice being like, no, this is how I do it. This is fine. I
Yeah.
always saw them like, oh yeah, no, I definitely need to do this better. Like I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to go to a few preseason trainings sessions with Miss T and Carrie. And
Yeah.
I hear them saying, no, we need to do this ball a little different because so-and-so already knows that. And that's when they got 3 points on us. Or
Yes.
Miss T will look at me and be like, can you watch what I'm doing wrong over here? And I'm like, me?
Me?
Watch you?
Yeah.
The humbleness of understanding that you're not done. This is not
Right.
it, you know?
Right.
So watching these, my partner that I got to play with, a veteran called Tachi Minello, how hard she worked when she played with me when she was 40.
Yeah.
And, and she could have been like, I got it. Like you do you, she outworked me almost every practice and I worked my ass off.
Yes.
And she goes, you left me no choice, Pri. You worked so hard for us that I had to work hard too.
Oh, God, I
Like no
love
matter
that.
where I was. Yeah. So this is all I know. There's
Mhm.
no, I got it.
Yeah.
I know what I'm able to do. And I'm very aware that people can start me in this way. So I also know
Mhm.
that I need to work on this. So I have
Mhm.
an answer when I cannot do what I'm really good at.
Yeah.
So that type of like I call humble confidence,
Oh,
right?
it's
And that's what.
perfect. That's a great term. Yeah, humble confidence. That's great. I like what you said about non-attachment as well. I
Yeah.
think that's very valuable. And I will tell you from knowing you that no, you're telling stories about your experience for your players to understand the experience they're in, not about who you are. That's
Mhm.
not you. That's
Correct.
not your delivery. And that's not your MO. Never has been. So as a coach, you just continue to grow as well, which
Yeah,
is
and that's what I expect. And now
Mhm.
that I haven't played, high level since COVID, I go,
Yeah.
well, I haven't done this, but I'm watching.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tell you guys need to take advantage because I was like, I used to say, take advantage while I can show you what to do. And so I know I'm going to be able to show you. Or I
Yeah.
used to say, everything you've done, I have done it. So I know it's
Mhm.
okay. But now it's getting to points where certain things
Mhm.
I haven't done, but like, I'm like, okay, but trust me, this is working over here. I saw these teams, I saw these results. I
Mhm.
see how people are playing defense. So it's really cool that I feel like even more trusted that I don't have to
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
show to prove myself or anything. But
Yeah.
some people are visual and they need it. It's like, sorry, I can do it. Like, I got a
Yeah.
bad hip now. I got arthritis on my hip. I got a baby.
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
Well, it sounds to me like you're an adamant observer of the game and
Yeah.
of the technique.
Oh, I think the only person that could be more of a volley nerd than me and my wife together is Nicole.
I was gonna say her name. I knew you were gonna say
We
before you
both
said it.
go like, no, look, it's only because she watches men just as hard as she watches women's, and I
Yeah.
don't watch men as hard as she watches. I watch men's. I don't watch it like she watches.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that technique. It's that dive in. But I think that you give such an amazing delivery for your experience and for what you are able to glean by just watching, because like now you're not able to play also because you're pregnant. So there's that too. But I want to go back and talk a little bit about you being able to play to represent your country. Tell me what that did to you during your career and how you felt being able to represent the place where you started, the roots where you come from.
Yeah, well, it's my whole career was I was so late for everything. A late bloomer, a late
Mm.
whatever. I thought professional was never an option, right? So I started playing volleyball at 15. The other middle that came with me to Louisiana Lafayette, she was in the 15th national team when I met her.
Wow.
So that was
Okay.
like from zero to top of the nation. And that's
Yeah.
where I was learning still, right? So I started beach volleyball after college, where
Mhm.
in Brazil, my best friend went to 2008. So that was 4 years I started AVP. My
Uh-huh.
best friends that we used to play when we were teenagers, we were undefeated in the juniors, the beginning of juniors, everything. They were
Yeah.
trying like running trials,
Yeah.
and then she stayed because she was a really good setter. She was playing professionally as a setter in the
Okay.
Superliga in Brazil. So by 2008, she was in the Olympics. She got fourth in the Olympics. And I'm like, I'm just happy to be on the AVP and climbing my rankings.
Yeah.
So everything was a little delayed for me. So
Mhm.
by 2009, I played with the veteran Tachi, and I had my breakthrough year. We finished third in the nation on the AVP. Then
Awesome.
she said, Pri, you need to go to Brazil. You're playing really well. You
Mhm.
have a good height. We had great results. Go to Brazil. If it wasn't for Tachi, I would have never thought about that because I'm like, my career is over in Brazil. I could like, it's so hard. It's so like, I don't know, culture. I always
Oh, there's balloons.
I talk with my hands and it always shows up. Um, it's so like cultural that things like, I wasn't good enough to be in Brazil, that I never
Mhm.
thought I would go back and play in Brazil. So
Yeah.
Tachi pretty much said, you need to go. So
Yeah.
I went, and in my first time in Brazil, I got podium. I got third.
Oh,
First ever tournament in Brazil professionally,
wow.
everything. So I was like,
Wow.
wow, okay. So I set up for the next season to play with this girl that coincidentally her partner was sick or something. So
Okay.
I needed a partner. My partner couldn't register because of something else. So we're both looking for a partner. So we literally got together the day before, had one little practice, went all the way to semifinals.
Wow. God.
And play in Brazil. You play for a bronze medal, so you don't
Okay.
go to semifinals and you're done like over here. And
Okay.
you play the bronze medal match.
Okay.
So we got third. So that was huge. It was her first podium. She's been
Mm.
on the tour, and my first ever Brazilian tournament, and we're in the podium. So
Yeah.
the next year we set up for us to play together, and she had sponsorships and all that. And then playing with her, and they saw this federation, the Brazilian Federation,
Mhm.
saw our potential, and they started calling us to go to like South American Games representing Brazil. And
Mhm.
at that time, they tried to do something new for Olympic qualifications called Continental Cup.
Okay. Yes.
So, so we went representing Brazil. We were team one. There was a team two, and we went and we played some countries over there, in Peru or wherever else, and it was like I can't believe it. I'm
Yeah.
representing Brazil. Like that was never. It was like a dream as a kid, and then once I came to America, my dream was over because it wasn't attainable.
Oh, wow, Pri.
Like I never had that dream anymore. And
Wow.
then all of a sudden I see myself wearing a sport bra that says BRA, and I'm like, and I get
This
the
is happening.
feels. Yes, yes.
Yeah. It
It
sounds
was
to me like if you think about like how you met that person that became your partner that you had so much success with in Brazil, that I mean, that synchronistic happening, like that wasn't made up like just off the fly. That was in your DNA. That was going to happen. But how crazy if you think back to you met the day before.
yeah. Somebody said, "Hey, she needs a partner. You need a partner. You want to play somebody that we knew?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'll play with her." And we try to get a practice in Rio before going up north to the tournament, but it didn't work out. We ended up meeting at the site the day before just to have a little bit of, and that's something I try to tell my players. Like, it doesn't matter if you want the best partner. You need to be ready. Are you doing
Yes.
everything like? Are
Yes.
you ready for the best partner?
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I want to play with an Olympian too, but I'm not ready to play with an Olympian right now.
You got to
So
be ready.
you need to be ready. And I think
Mhm.
just by putting consistent work with that mentality of everything I was learning,
Yeah.
got me ready for the opportunities that started coming. Like, got me ready for my veteran that picked me up in at the AVP, and then told me to
Mhm.
go to Brazil, and we played the rest of the season in Brazil. Got me ready for the next one. That got
Mhm.
me ready for the next one. That got so
But
that
you're
was the whole point.
adaptable. You're adaptable.
Yes,
You
that is
see?
one of the things that I always say about myself. I'm very
Yeah.
adaptable.
Yeah. And you make your partner better in that capacity by being adaptable, I believe.
Sometimes I was really tough on my partners, especially in America.
Okay.
Yeah, because as I got older, they got younger. So I know
Mm.
I was tough on them. But even like Kristen Roar at
Yeah.
now ASU and stuff, like with
Yeah.
Joe, I was saying, "Oh, that girl yelled at her partners." Like, I yelled at her and we're still friends.
It
but I
can work.
create really deep relationships.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm yelling at you and that I don't care about you. I show how much I care because I
Yeah.
truly care about the person. But
Yeah.
like being a competitor, I want to compete. And then I'll be like, what does it take for you to compete right now? And I would
Yes.
start from like, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Like, it was like, what is going to take? It's like, I would explode. I wasn't perfect. And I knew I had
Mhm.
that in me. But again, like I play with Kaya Martiniak on, the NVL, and like till today, uh, I love her to death. We have a business together with Nicole,
Yeah.
Beach Volleyball Women's Coaches Alliance. Like, like she's part of my life. I'm part of her life. We talk about things like I coached her on the AVP with Kim. So
Okay.
like, like where a lot of these kids are like, oh, she's me to me, and nobody plays with them again, or nobody talks to them
Yeah.
again because of that, because they're
Yeah.
not building the relationship. So I think it also allowed me to be free to be myself.
Yes.
you
Oh, I
know?
love that too.
Yeah, which sometimes I do recognize, and my partner, Angela, the one that we played 3 or 4 years, same thing. Like I was really tough on her,
Yeah.
for certain things. But
Yeah.
she was really good. It's like, hey, Pri, like so it was great. Like I've had, I've also had really great people that allow me to be myself, and they
Mhm.
understand who I was. But I know I put in a lot of time showing them how I care and how much I care about them, our volleyball, our team. It was just now I want to win. I don't care about you type of thing.
Yeah, no, it's a relationship building thing. I think you have to look at
And
it
you
from that
grow. Yeah.
capacity.
And you
Yeah.
have to know how to deal with each individual person, where
Mhm.
I feel nowadays is about catering to only like, there's this whole thing on self-care, but like it's a balance. You need to do a little bit of both.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you on that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about what happened in 2015 with your wife, Michelle. She's coaching at Eckerd at that point, correct?
Mhm.
But let me back up. How did you guys meet? Let
Oh,
me
I mean,
hear
there
that
are
one.
two versions.
Oh no, there's wait. There's two versions.
Mine is funnier.
Okay. Okay.
Well, the
Let's go for that one since
ATP
she's
was in
not
Fort
here.
Lauderdale, and then she came to watch. And then obviously she saw Angela and I playing, and she was like, "Oh
Mhm.
my God, I what my version is I was like, oh, she was a groupie," and but no, we were
What a
nobody,
groupie.
so we had no groupies, but um, but we met as friends though, because we had a
Mhm.
common friend that introduces whatever, and we were just friends. She was dating, I was dating, so we were actually friends for 7 years
Oh wow. Okay.
before we started dating.
Before you got together. And
Yeah.
then you were still playing on the tour
Hmm.
when Michelle was diagnosed with breast cancer,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So that was in 2015, had to cut your career short. Tell me about that initial diagnosis for you as her partner. And
Um, Honestly, I'm one of those people that like, you have a problem, I'll find the solution. And
ah,
that's something that for me is like, I don't know any other way. So when
mhm,
she told me she had cancer, I was like, solution mode, let's go. You know,
yeah,
I obviously the day of we kind of cry.
mhm.
It, this woman's strength. She got the phone call about 30 minutes before her first preseason practice with her team,
Oh,
indoor
wow.
team at Eckerd. She called me. At that time, we're so fortunate. We live 7 minutes away from Eckerd.
Okay.
Now we live 45, so it would be
Okay.
a long wait. So I was
Mhm.
there. When I got in, she's like, "All right, talk to my mom, whatever." I was like, "What do you want to do? You want to cancel practice?" She's like, "Nope." Wiped her tears and walked in there. Nobody knew what happened.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Then it was a shock. I didn't really cry of that fearful, oh my God, somebody had cancer. She has cancer, the person I love the most,
Mhm.
until they had um, a team get together somewhere, like a team bonding, whatever. I said,
Mhm.
you need to go do something fun. It was before she started chemo or anything, so she had energy. Go. And then when she went, and then I was showering and I started just breaking down, like crying, and
Oh,
by the shower,
mhm.
that's when I felt it. I felt all, what everybody feels, I guess, but I was
Yeah.
like holding the entire time, because like, we're going to do this, I'm going to research nutrition, alternative medicine, whatever we need, while we're waiting for the
Right.
the Moffitt cancer to come out with the plan or whatever we have to do.
Mhm.
But it's something that came up later on in our lives, that she's like, wow, you never cried with me. And I'm like,
Oh,
I
wow.
wanted to keep you alive. I had no time to be weak,
Yeah.
and then we had to understand where each other came from, because I didn't know she was upset, that she didn't feel that I was,
Mhm.
she didn't hold it against me or anything, but it was something that's like,
No.
oh, I never saw you cry. And I'm like, well, like, for me, you're gonna see me be like, you're not dying under my watch. You know, that
Yes.
was my motto. I was like, we're doing this, you know.
Wow.
So honestly, like they say, traumatic things happen and you don't remember. Both of us, we have very little memories and
Yeah.
vague memories of like those times, because it was
Mm.
pretty pretty rough. I drove
Oh,
her to every single match she had. She made it to every single match going through
during her treatment.
every single practice, but Thursdays, which was just serving pass. Like, it's serving pass is 1 hour. I'll be there. You
Yeah.
can stay home.
Yeah.
Like, rest, because tomorrow you have a match, and you have a match Friday and Saturday, right? So that's the only thing she missed. Thursday, 1 hour practice. Everything else, she was there every day, and I was there with her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that the independence we spoke about earlier really primed you for this experience to go, this is okay, we're going through it. We're doing it.
Probably. I had a lot of old people in my family, so I've seen a lot of people pass.
Yeah.
But I never had this experience of being like a primary caretaker of somebody with such a strong and scary and deathly illness.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've always been a problem solver, not a problem seeker. So I was just like, I am trying to find everything I can that will help you a little bit here and there to keep you alive, you know. And we had help with alternative medicine as well as regular medicine, plus, you know, all the things that whether that's nutrition, you know, or you're gonna eat, how we're gonna deal with your lymph nodes or whatever. But it was totally new. I was never so organized in my entire life.
Okay.
Paperwork and, you know, all that, like insurance paperwork and whatever else we needed to do. I was like, wow, like it literally brought another side of me. But I had to be that focused, and I was on, right?
Yeah.
Until I was off. And I was off. When we got the, like, she has no more cancer in 2017, I just went down, and then that's where I stayed for a few years, for a long time. And then in between, we got the news that she was clear from cancer, and my grandmother died in Brazil, and I couldn't go to Brazil because I was going through my residence, like my green card over here. So that killed me, and that put me in, like, because I had nothing holding, like I had no rocks, right? So I had no rocks. I was like drowning, and I was like in deep depression. It was really bad.
How did you get through that time?
I didn't. It took me forever. It took me until 2 or 3 years ago. That's when I got out of that. I couldn't say grandma without crying.
Yeah.
I couldn't say, and I would start crying. I couldn't. So I wouldn't talk about her. I wouldn't listen to songs that would remind me of her, because I started doing, thankfully, because of Nicole, she's like, my friend, you need to do PTSD therapy.
Right.
So I found somebody, and she's incredible, and I've been working with her in the last 3 years, and she's been helping me so much.
That's great. It's a lifesaver for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps you unearth some of those things that you may have been holding on to for a very long time, that have those roots attached to the feelings and the stuff that you're keeping squashed down. So then you create that space where it's safe enough emotionally for you to be able to let it go.
Yeah.
And then having a spouse like you have, the deep connection that you and Michelle have, knowing that you have, that somebody she's got you, just like you got her. Like, I know that is interchangeable between the two of you. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
How important was it for you guys to have a baby one day?
Wow. We've been trying since around COVID.
Yeah.
Off and on. So we went through 4 IUIs. This is the second in vitro. So there's been quite a lot of shots.
Yes.
A lot of what about now, and nothing. Yeah. So, and again, it was almost like putting me in that mode, like, you know, that it wasn't probably one of the reasons. You never know when your body's going to be ready, whatever. Mm-hmm. But because even regular couples don't get pregnant every time they have sex. It's not like that, right? So we knew that, but you know, I was still not in a good place. Mm-hmm. Right. Still dealing with a lot of stuff, dealing and not dealing, because I ended up being too busy to deal with anything, because I was building Optimum to the next level.
Yeah.
So once we did this in vitro, which is our second one, and I was like, I was so nervous, excited, because I was in a better place. I was like, okay, but I don't want to know. You call them. And it's really funny, because she called them. She was like, oh, hi, you know, we got a phone call. She's like, and the lady's talking to her. She's like, okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much. All right. And then because she's trying not to give it away.
Okay.
And then she hangs up, and I'm like, I look at her, and it's funny because I was running errands with Kennedy, I was like, I need an assistant coach. I didn't have an assistant coach yet. I was like, I need to run errands and I need to pick up stuff and I can't pick them up because I had just recently been inseminated. So I, couldn't pick up anything higher than like 8 pounds or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she looked at me, she's like, you're pregnant. And I'm like, oh my God. And we're all crying. Ken is crying. I'm crying. Michelle's crying. And she goes, can you please call and tell that lady that I'm not a psycho? Because she's telling me, congratulations, you're pregnant. She's like, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Because she's trying not to let me know.
Oh, that's amazing. Did you call her back?
It's so funny. No, like whenever we went for whatever, we kind of say, oh, did you call? Okay. I was like, oh, we kind of explained what was going on. She's like, I just don't want you to think that she's a psycho,
Right. That's a great way to tell you. I love it.
Like, things like that. But it's so special. And I mean, that's another thing I had to work on because I had to bring myself, like I said, I had to bring the competitor Pri back because so I'm not a worry person. Like I don't worry. I don't live like in this, oh my God, if something goes wrong, I don't go because I'm so adaptable. I never had to worry.
Yeah.
And I was so worried about her not sticking and then her not hitting whatever she needs to hit to the next ultrasound. And it was bad. It was like almost a mental health bad,
Yeah.
And I was like, wake up. This is not true. Right. Like I had to. So thankfully being an athlete really helped me being like, hey, you got your numbers are good. Just keep do your best. And let's see. So after the 3 months, definitely gotten better. And then I learned how to manage and like, okay, I understand that these fears are going to come, but it was a little bit too much in the beginning because you want it so bad, obviously like it's a lot of time, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of emotional investment. And you're like, I want to be attached, but I don't. So you're waiting for the next one to make sure that everything's okay.
Yeah.
You have a breather and then it's like, oh, but the next one is going to really tell it. And then the next one's like, how many of the next ones we're going to have over here?
Right. It's this dance you're going back and forth with.
And I also felt like it was a lot of pressure on me, like not in a bad way because of chemotherapy. Michelle was not fertile.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't be able to have a baby from her. So I was like, I'm our last option, But then we talked about like working or not working. We want to adopt a baby anyway. I always wanted multiple kids. So we're still in that route still. Like we're going to still look into it and try to get, another baby.
Perfect.
But, it's so those things. And I had a couple of therapy sessions with my therapist and we worked these things out. And I told him, man, if it wasn't my competitor mind that I looked for, I was going to drown in worriness that I never had in my life and fear. I never had that fear. It was like, I don't want it. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
And then even little things, because I'm such a jokester, I used to say like, I don't care if it comes with 4 legs and 3 arms. I just want a baby. I was like, I do care. Like in my head, I was like, oh, please don't believe me. I really want her healthy. And like it was like so weird how it's everything.
The emotions.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. But yeah, I mean, this is our dream come true for sure.
Oh, I love it. And I wanted to say too, and this is not a detrimental statement. I want to talk about old school and the fact that the mentality that you have, I don't know if that was born into you. I don't know if that was learned through your experiences. I don't know if it was a combination of all of that stuff, that and other things together. But there's a really strong foundational, we're just going to do it. I'm not going to run from it. We're going to take care of it. That is very refreshing for me to hear. And I love that I've known that about you, but I hope that my listeners can really hear that about you, because I think that's a piece that not a lot of people really embrace. And I know that you've done a lot of emotional work around that. And so I'm not saying, oh, well, you're all this way or all this way. You've had to work to find that dance between that being vulnerable and being strong. And where's that middle ground? And we're all still working on it. We're all still growing in it. But do you think that that competitor mindset you talked about and that fundamental place was where you came from, or your experiences, or how did that develop for you?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, probably like in terms of everything, but like why our club, we started together, like it's called Optimum. because it's not the one way. It's the best possible way. Now I'm going to try to find something. I mean, I'm open to learn something else that might make it better, but we're not like ideal, not even yet. This is the right way volleyball club.
Yeah.
Right. It's optimum beach. So it's like, what's optimal right now for us to learn. So we're always in that. We've always had this mindset, Michelle and I. And we're like, it's a weird name. Nobody puts anything like that. I was like, but it means a lot to us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. As long as it means
who we are. Yeah. Yeah. So we've always been like, and we balance each other really well, Michelle and I, where she's extremely like a planner and she needs everything's very organized. And well, actually, I'll put her over here because she always says, I'm in the clouds all the time. She's like, come back. I was like, no, it's more fun up here. That's our joke. And, so like, I think a little bit of everything, like but I just remember when I had fears as a competitor, how I could turn on and compete. No matter if I had a doubt, if I have a fear or whatever, because you don't like everybody, like from my experience, even my friends that were Olympians, they go in the match knowing what could happen for them to lose, which means they're not like, oh, everything I'm going to do is going to be perfect. I'm going to win. Like it's not really realistic because then you're not prepared for what could happen. That could lose. Right. So that mindset is the only one I know.
Yes.
Preparing. I know what I can do well, and I'm prepared for what could happen. And then I adapt. Plan B, plan C, plan whatever.
Yes.
So I think that's where I come from.
I love that. And I actually follow a coach, is a very successful CrossFit coach that has that same philosophy. And that's how he coaches his high level athletes. It's we expect to succeed, but we prepare by knowing all the obstacles that could happen. Yeah. And in knowing the obstacles that can happen, we then have the ability to adapt to them because we are aware of if this, then this, okay, then I have a plan and I have a route and I have a plan of action. And that doesn't mean that I'm putting it out there that it's going to happen because
this is part of preparation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise it's not real. Right. Yeah. Even Caitlin Clark, right? Like this kid is amazing. Sorry, young woman. Sorry, my life. This young woman is amazing. And like, she's going to miss. You think she's having dreams that I'm never going to miss one. And then you see her face. Oh my God, I missed one. No, she understands that basketball, volleyball, all sports, whatever, there is a percentage of failure that comes with it.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Baseball, right? Softball, whatever. Best hitters are what at 300. I don't know their percentage.
Right.
Which means, like outside hitters now they used to be 300. Now they're in the 400s. So that means almost 50% of the time they're not getting a kill. And it's not cutting their experience. They don't think less of themselves. They're like, yep, part of the process. Yeah. And I think especially with kids nowadays, she's a perfectionist. Oh, really? So if she is perfect and prepare for the perfectionism of the game that allows her to fail.
Right. How do you give that to your juniors players? I imagine your professionals that are older probably have a little bit more openness to that and understanding because of being a little bit more mature. But how do you convey that to your juniors that you train at Optimum and give them arm that with that?
I try to give them those stats. Right. Best hitter in the conference. Let's see. Outside hitter. We go indoors because they have a lot more percentage. Right. Best shooter in NCAA, whatever. Look at nobody's 100%.
Right.
Nobody. But, they're going to hear, oh, okay. And then the next day, like, I'm not perfect. So they also need, time to grow.
It's that back and
hopefully, forth. Hopefully they understand. So we're like, hey, or they running on defense to the spot. I was like, yeah, but like 80% of the balls are over here today. So why are you worried over there? And you need to, I say today. And that's something that I'm still working with some of my older players too. Is like, there's what we know of, like, let's say scouting a person. There's what we know and there's today.
Okay. And
I have to gather information of what's happening today. And if what's happening today matches what I already know about that person, great. But if she comes, not everybody, and I can speak like volleyball terms with you because both of your daughters play, not everybody has their cut every match.
Yeah.
So they rely to a high line, right? So they go to another direction. But if I know that Kate is like, she's a cutter, and that day is not her cut day. I'm going to be stuck waiting for her cut, and she's just getting highlines.
Yeah.
I'm not gathering information of today.
And that's so, you can expound upon that outside of sports. That's what I love about sports being like this growth and this whole, it applies to life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
So we
Amazing.
set up for the higher percentage, and then we learn information of today. That's how I'm trying to teach them, paying attention to those things. The younger kids are going to take longer to understand and let go of things because it's obvious. I can't expect 14 or 18-year-olds to be like so poised and like got it and do that.
Right.
But it's being patient and reminding them and keep telling those stories, saying the same thing but different. And
you're going to be a great mom. You know that,
I hope so.
You're going to be a great mom. You're already like a mom.
My joke is that I get to mentor so many kids. So I tell all the moms that I mentor, it's like, look, I know, you did a great job with your daughter, great job raising her. I love your daughter. She's such a great person, great volleyball player. And I love that I get to like finish the little details before we send her to college. Yeah. Like I really want to mess up my own kid so somebody else can finish the product, I want to know my own kid so I can see what's going to happen. And then I send to somebody else to finish the product.
Let someone else finish her. Oh, I love it. Gosh, what are you most looking forward to in meeting your baby? Because by the time this airs, she'll be here.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What are we not looking forward? Like, so this kid has been facing inward.
Oh my.
The entire pregnancy. So, everybody, did you see the elbow and the hand and the foot? No.
I haven't. Nothing.
Like she's been hiding the entire time.
Oh, she's going to come out like
one little picture in December of her face kind of like this. We can't see. Her legs have been up and over like this.
Wow.
Plus her hands. We don't get to see her. Then 2 weeks ago, we got a little bit of her face.
Okay.
Like this. And then yesterday we had another one and she's like this. But with her back to us, so we don't get to see anything. We just got to see some little fingers. So I'm looking forward to see my child for the first time. We don't know her entire face, but we do know we got to see like a little bit, like I think it was one side more than the other. Yeah. Like she's my clone. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Pri.
Yes, she's my clone. It's the cutest thing. And this last yesterday, the lady's like, oh my God, look at her fat rolls. So we got to do like 3 little bumps.
Oh, love it.
Oh, and then she said she has hair behind her ear over here. A little patch of hair.
Gosh.
We're really looking forward to know her entire face because we haven't been.
Yeah, you haven't seen the whole picture. That's crazy.
I just want to hear. I want to hear how she cries. I want, I just want to see how she's. I don't know. It's like I tell everybody, I don't know. It's my first child. I don't know what I want. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about visitors? What do you think? I was like, I don't know anything. Like they asked me for maternity leave, and when do you want to get back? I said, I don't know. How long did it take for you to get back? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you don't know, and I think
I'm not a planner. I'm go with the flow. So
that's it. That's what I was gonna
say. Like not finished, like the maternity plan, not finished yet.
Okay. Do you have a bag packed in case you're ready to go?
No, we're doing it this week.
Okay.
My wife's like, we gotta get this. I was like, oh, we'll be fine.
You probably should pack a bag.
Yes, we're gonna pack.
Just saying, you're close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But with your adaptability, I think that's another thing that's going to make you a great mom. Just go with the flow because you'll handle whatever comes up.
Yeah, and I've had experience of helping raise 2 of my cousins, but they were a little older. They were like 3, 4, but I did help for 6 months with my little brother before I came to America. Okay. Like I would get them from my mom, let her sleep, and feed them throughout the night and all that. So, and I've been around a lot of babies and stuff, so I have some knowledge. But I know when it's, and I'm aware of that, and everybody. But once it's yours, you're like, oh my God. So I can't wait to feel that way. I don't,
it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. And you guys are going to be brilliant and amazing at being moms to this beautiful little girl. Mila is her name?
Mila Ruth Ann.
Oh, Mila Ruth Ann. Oh, that's family.
We combine our grandmother's names together.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love the family tradition there for you both.
Yeah, we're very family oriented. We're kind of like old school. Like we see ourselves more like old school. both of us raised on hard work, like all that stuff, like got to earn everything, whatever. We just identify a lot more with this, with the older generation and the younger generation. Again, we have a mixed, but I think we're more strict.
I totally can see that. And that old school mentality of being tied family, that familial kind of love and that familial kind of bond, if you will. And I mean, it sounds also like your strength in the familial bonds goes beyond the blood relatives that you've had too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that choice is.
I made my community family wherever I went.
Yeah. Yeah. It's awesome. That's awesome. That's probably another piece that really saved you and brought you to this really whole place that you are right now, that you can now go on and have a gorgeous baby that's going to be here in probably less than 2 weeks. And go
April
back.
17th. No, I don't want her any earlier than this.
Yeah, keep her in there. If you're listening, you're not coming out until you're fully cooked and ready to go.
Yes.
Making sure she knows that. Oh my gosh, Pri, this has been amazing. I love, 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 love getting to talk to you. You're so deep in your knowledge and your experience. And I love you being so vulnerable about sharing pieces of your life that some people may not know about. I think that's part of what the plan for the Soul Goals is allowing other people to see those shadow sides of us when they see our highlight reel and they see what we've done and they see where we are, but they also get to know the person behind what got you to that highlight reel, if you will, because there's so much depth there. It's beautiful. So thank you for sharing all of that with me today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before I let you go though, I want to do some fun stuff. I want to throw some rapid fire questions your way. Are you okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready? I will say this. One of my last guests was like, these aren't really rapid fire questions. By the time we got to the third question, it had been like 5 minutes. I'm like, that's okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh my God, I'm a talker. Like,
it's okay. So I'm just letting you know, don't worry about that. Okay. I'm going to come up next interview. I'm going to come up with a different name for rapid fire questions. It's got to be something different. But in any case, here we go. All right. Question number 1 for you. What is your favorite type of music?
Oh, now that you know I was a dancer.
Yeah.
Right. I like a lot of type of music because I just love listening to the beat. Right. But something that I listen the most, it would be like some type of Brazilian music and divas over here in America, like whether there's Adele, Whitney, Celine, Mariah Carey and all that. And then because I love to dance and also like dirty South, booty music. I love that. Just gets my. But I grew up like I would love opera. I would listen to opera. Like people would be surprised because long answer. On the AVP, they would see me and Angela always warming up to all the like booty dances and the hip hops 2000s and all that. But they thought that that's all that I listened to because they would see me. But like honestly, like at home, I love listening to very calm stuff or the Brazilian samba or bossa nova, which is Brazilian blues. So like I'm very mixed on like the spectrum. It's just
eclectic. Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. Very eclectic. So this child has probably heard a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah.
And she will continue to hear that.
Yes.
Opera. I like that.
Oh yeah. Placido Domingo, Luciano Pavarotti, like you can name it. Like Andrea Bocelli. I love those guys.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. All right. Question number 2. What has been your favorite age so far and why?
I'll say now, I mean, before I was 29 when I broke through on the AVP and I had the year of my career, it was that was the best year ever.
Yeah.
But like life-wise, the 40s have been great because I feel like I really know what's going on and I've done even more in-depth work of being able to not control, but deal. And I never like feeling like controlled. Like I don't like that because not that is a bad thing, but in my mind is on one way only. If you feel like on one control of something versus being adaptable, right?
Yeah.
But just maybe I guess I learned how to be more adaptable with the things that were like more meaningful and emotionally like deeper. It's hard for me to deal with, and I'm learning how to navigate those better.
You're becoming aware. It's your awareness is expanded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I have more answers. I had awareness. My first session with my therapist, I said, she's like, so what, what do you want to work on? What are you here for? I said, look, I have a lot of awareness of what's going on. I have great EQ.
Yeah.
I have great knowledge too, but I need somebody to tell me exactly what's going on because
Yeah.
I tell people what's going on and I'm good at telling myself too, because I've done life alone. What's the
Yeah.
next task? But I want to make sure that, first of all, I want to hear what you have to say. And then if you hear how I think and like, if it matches, because I want to know if I'm not a lunatic and oh yeah, you're just saying whatever to yourself. So that's kind of like, like how I started therapy. I literally told us like, I need to hear from a professional exactly what I need versus I say, if you go to volleyball, I'll tell you what you need. So I don't want to be here saying, oh, but here's my answer to kind of like, an uncoachable person.
Right. But I think too, like there's a piece of you kind of going back. That's you're checking your ego at the door when you go in and you ask those kind of questions. And that's hard for a lot of people to do, especially when it's around self-reflection about who you are and what you're bringing in with trauma that has affected you and what habits it's created and different things that it's done that you have to kind of undo to make yourself a more whole and holistic person.
But I feel like you have to have either that's volleyball, like on volleyball life or whatever. When I went to her, I was like, I had enough. Like I need something to help me get through whatever I couldn't get through. And I didn't have the answers. So our first session had to be 2 hours. And then after that, it's just 1 hour.
Yeah.
And at the end of the session, she goes, wow, you just did work worth like 4 sessions.
Yeah.
I was ready. I was like, and I was like, you tell me, like, I'm an athlete. I was still kind of like whatever, dabbing into it. I was like, I'm an athlete. You tell me, I follow instructions. What does it take for me to be great? For me to be better. So
competitive mindset. Yeah. In a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Okay. That was rapid fire question number 2.
Sorry, guys.
It's all good. All right. Number 3. What never fails to make you laugh?
My wife.
Oh, what's the funniest thing about her?
She makes me laugh every day. I tell her that's the reason why I married you, because you make me laugh every day. Otherwise it'd be really boring. But I don't know, from her being a goof and like she's great with impersonating people and accents and whatever.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Gosh, she's spot on whatever she does. When she does it, it's like great. And she even said, look, I'm not people's entertainment. I'm not your entertainment person. Because I go, hey, can you do so? She's so shy at first when she doesn't know people. So when she knows people, she comes out of her shell and it's so much better. But she's like, stop making me do stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes just her mannerisms like make me laugh, or her little cute ways. It's like, but every day there's something that she makes me laugh, and that makes me laugh, and I love that, and I can't wait for Mila to laugh at her, because to know her and get her sense of humor and be silly like her is going to be like the greatest thing for me to see.
Oh, that baby laugh! That first time you hear that baby laugh, you're just gonna melt.
Oh,
it's the best ever. All right. Question number 4. Do you think that you could win a game show?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know which one, but I definitely can win something.
I feel like after this conversation, I know you could win a game show.
I could.
Let's see. Is The Price is Right still happening?
I don't know. I don't watch.
Have you ever seen that? The Price is Right?
I've seen a few, but not the things like if it's American trivia, I don't know everything because I grew up in Brazil. So there's a lot that I'm missing. But if it's anything around something that I know, I'm like, I'm a pretty good competitor, but I don't know what it is. It has to be obviously something that it can, a bigger spectrum, not just only American stuff.
Something in your wheelhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. You give me a volleyball, like it would be like Nicole and I going at each other, like.
I can see the two of you head to head.
Oh my gosh. But
awesome.
like
I'd watch that.
Music, dance, whatever, Oh, okay, Dance with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars could be something I could win if my hip is working, because I have severe arthritis and my hip doesn't work anymore.
Oh my God, let's put you on it.
I can win that.
Let's go. Dancing with the Stars. Pri. That would be amazing.
I would give my best. It's something that I've done and I love it. Oh, I love dancing.
Oh my gosh. hands down, you'd get the golden mirror ball or
Yeah,
whatever,
something like
mirror
that.
ball trophy.
Yeah.
Yes, you're in it. Good. All right. We're setting that as your bucket list. That's happening. All right. Last question, and I will let you go for the day. What motivates you the most?
Well, I at first, like I did life alone, so I just wanted to better myself.
Yeah.
And see, I've always been, like I said, daredevil's like, let's see how far I can go type of thing. That was my motivation. I tell my players, I never had anything that nobody needs to have anything that has, nobody needs to come from a negative place to thrive into a positive place. Right.
Yeah.
Even like, I feel like, your daughters, my players, like they have so much support from you guys, from their parents. Like you don't have to be the kid that came from nowhere to be somewhere.
Yeah.
You can be there. Like even though I could have used some of my life pressures or problems to. It was never I'm thriving from this terrible place. So at first I just wanted to be better and see where I was gonna. It was always looking forward and looking up.
Right.
Now, what motivates me the most, the last obviously 10, 12 years is like Michelle and I.
Yeah.
But now we got Mila. So that's what motivates me the most. I wanna make them proud. I wanna, I wanna provide the best I can. I wanna, I just wanna be the best I can be, even though I know I fail a lot.
Yeah. Well, we all do.
Ask my wife how much I fail. I'm sure she has a list. But
we all do.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it doesn't hold me like I'm so bad and I need to be so good.
Yeah.
It's just like I know where I'm at, I know what I'm great at, and I know where I need to get better, and I'm going to continue to work on that. But my motivation is definitely that, and I wanna give the people that I coach. I told one of my players like I want them to know and feel that I am invested in their dreams because I got to live my dream, and I want them to live their dream.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's it. That's authentic. And I think that makes you so relatable and real for your players,
Some of them. Some of them get it.
I get it. Yes, I get it. I mean, it's sometimes you're this.
They do. They're great. I tell them I'm not the coach for everyone. I'm different. Right. Like Nicole feels the same way. We're very different. And but man, when the kids connect, it's you've seen it. You've seen the difference. Like it's amazing. That's why we coach. The ones that connect and the ones that at least we leave an impressive mark in their lives where for the positive and they understand. And a lot of times, even talking with my wife, who's been coaching college for like over 15, 18 years, something like that, is like, we coach everybody the same, but we're not going to get the masses to connect. We coach the way we are and what we believe for the 2% that gets it.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's our positive result. Yeah. But I'm not gonna change how I coach because I don't have 100% of the people that doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Because I trust in my product and I trust in who I am and what I'm giving out to those players. Oh,
that's a wonderful philosophy to have. And I think, again, it goes back to that. You're authentic. You're living you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You're being you and you're delivering that piece. And there's something that people can receive about that. And if they can't, it's okay. It's nothing is derogatory or wrong about it. It's just that you don't serve anybody by not being you.
Yeah. I'm not going to be the best coach I am if I'm not myself. Mm-hmm. But again, I also know how to navigate, so I tell my coaches, like, I need to earn how to be Pri. So I'm not just like straight on Pri because they don't know me. So I need to earn that way up. And once I get there still, then there's age, there's maturity, and then we measure that. But at the end, the message is always the same. Our intentions and, my intention and my goals and what I believe in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's talk just for a little bit before we stop today, because I didn't even go there. USF. Oh, you're not competing this season, but next season?
Mm-hmm. So this coming fall, we're going to have, we're trying to get over here about 10 to 12 players. Yeah. And we're going to redshirt all of them. Okay. And we're going to function as a club, not as a varsity sport. Yes. So we're going to get to play against all the same the same schedule as everybody,
Yeah.
but we are a club.
Got it.
And then fall of 25, 26 is our first like full goal season,
Oh,
official season.
are you excited about that?
Oh my gosh, I can't wait until they're in, like over here. And at the same time, it's like, I don't know how my life is going to be. Like Mila's going to be like 5 months when everybody's coming in for the first time this fall. And I'm just going to have to like relearn life, right? Like what's life is in terms of balance, in terms of responsibilities with my family, with my kid, with my wife, with the team, my wife is in season in the fall because she coaches indoors. So, she's less available. Obviously, we're going to get help. But, just navigating all that and figure it out. Like, I'm excited because, again, like, I want to see what's going to happen. And I'm going to do my best. And that's all I can do.
That's it. You do your best. That's it. That's all you can do.
Yeah,
and I have a feeling.
Bassinet, so it's fine.
Well, I have a feeling that your adaptability will kick in big time, and it's going to be a thing to behold. I'm excited to watch it. I really am.
I'm so excited. Our recruits look good. Nicole is like sending a lot of compliments for our recruits. I was like, okay, thank God, good. This is amazing because if
yes.
good.
Oh, I love that. I love that
so much.
Yeah, I love it. Pri, I am so thankful for you. Thank you for taking your time today, for giving me this great opportunity to learn a little bit more about you and our listeners to know a little bit more about where you came from, what your why is, who you are as a fundamental person, and just being as open and vulnerable about your story as you have been. I appreciate that. And I know it's hard to do for a lot of people, but it's been great to be able to connect with you in that way. So thank you so much for being you.
Thank you. You're welcome. Honesty is one of my highest values. And I think that a lot of people get to know, the more we get to know them in the bigger picture, what's going on, what has happened to them, the more we can connect with them and connect with what they've been through. And again, like I tell my players, like, we don't have to come from something negative to turn into positive. You can just have a pretty positive life and turn into great too. So I think nowadays it's more like that because there's a lot of like mental health help. Like, yes, people are in the negative, there's help, but like, what are people that are cruising over and having a good life and they don't understand? They're like, I still need a push to have volleyball wise, let's say, a better result. But you don't have to have anything negative. You don't have to be victim of anything if you have a great life to continue to push. And there are many athletes that are living this great life and they are able to push. And I don't think that our kids see that. And I try to show them who I know has had a good life. They've had obstacles here and there, but it doesn't mean that they had something traumatizing in their lives. That because usually we just hear the underdog that never had anything and then had all this and whatever. But no, and I don't know her full story, but like even I think Caitlin Clark, like she just says, look, I just worked my butt off the entire time. Right. It wasn't nothing like she had something that she couldn't play with the boys when she went to play with the boys, but like she got to compete. I didn't do anything overly traumatized in her life. And she's the greatest, NCAA basketball player now. Yeah. So
I think that's a great aspect. And I think that's a really brilliant point to bring up, is that it doesn't always have to be one way. It can be multiple different ways. And if you're not coming from a place of that underdog stuff that you're talking about, you still can become great. It's not that you're already here. Yeah. You have.
How do you pursue greatness?
Mic drop. How do you pursue greatness? Yeah.
And some people, I had athletes that she had to wait for something bad to happen. So she would, I'm doing this because of this, and then I'm coming over this terrible thing that happened to me. She'll post on social media, and I'm like, but honestly, you don't have to. You were doing great.
Yeah.
And you had to wait for something to kick you up, further higher where you were, or whatever, versus I'm just going to continue to climb this ladder. I'm in a good place right now. Like Michelle and I were like, wow, our life is great.
Yeah.
Our life is great. Let's that's it. We don't need anything else. And what am I going to do? Sit down? No, I still want to be great, next greatness or wherever I can do. And so is my wife. And we don't need to wait for something to come down for all of us first to decide to be a better coach.
Yeah.
Pri,
that's brilliant. That's some of the best content that I could even ask for. Some of the best information that I think people could hear. Really, truly. Yeah. Oh, we're always striving to be the next version of ourselves that is a little bit better, no matter where you come from.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be. I just, because coming from Brazil, where we see so much poverty, so much lack of opportunity, and my heart is so full seeing these kids that have everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And then they're waiting for something bad to happen. So they have a reason to come up and, push through versus pushing through. You're good, push through to that next good and towards greatness, and understand that that's okay. That's an even better path.
Yeah.
But but then there some kids don't have that motive of driving forward.
Yeah. Right? The motivation has to be
there. They have to drive away. So I think I heard it from Anthony Robbins. You either I used to know the words like to the T, but you either run away from fear or failure or towards love and success. And some people just know how to be successful by running away from fear or failure. They don't know how to. And it's all of us. And I explain to them, like, in certain things, I run away from fear and failure. And other things, I run towards success and love. Right? So recognizing where you're, like, for them, it's too early for them to recognize all that in their lives. But I try to figure it out, like, volleyball wise. And then one example that I use is where practice, sorry, I'm making this long. It's, let's say I say, hey, I want your right leg in front of you when you do this. And then they don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I was like, come on, put your right leg in front. When you come over here, turn around, boom, put your right leg in front. And they don't do it. I was like, okay, so you're not able to do it. You're not focused. So next time when you don't put your right leg in front, we're going to do 75 burpees. Right leg in front, right leg in front, right. And I go, what changed? I said, so now you're putting your right leg in front because you're afraid of doing burpees, but not because you just want to be good and successful.
Yeah.
You could have put that right leg in front of you a long time ago, but you kept thinking, I don't want to do burpees. So I'm really going to pay attention to this.
Yeah. Wow.
I said, wow. You that way. Do it because you want to be good.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. Yeah.
So I found in volleyball kind of like how to relay that message to them.
Yeah. And that takes you again into your life. I mean, you can use that as long as you're alive in this body in so many ways, in so many capacities. Go pursue greatness, my friend. I know you will.
Trying.
You're doing a great job. I'm excited to meet your baby girl. Yeah. I'm excited to watch you
go to college this fall or next fall?
Next fall.
Oh, so we'll see each other.
Yes, we got time. I can't wait I picture you being out there with her strapped to your chest.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come over and say, give me that baby.
Get in line, girl, because we've been getting phone calls, text messages.
I'll put my name on the list. Pri, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Good luck with that delivery. I can't wait to hear all about it and to see that sweet little face that's going to pop out.
Me too. Haven't seen that.
Tell Michelle I said hello.
Okay, I will.
All right. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. If you have an idea for an interview or you would like to share your own story, I would love to hear from you. Send me a message at dawn@thesoulgoals.com. If you enjoyed today's podcast, I'd love for you to leave a review and to consider following and subscribing to the show. With weekly releases, there is always another interesting story to be heard. I do hope that today's guests and their words have helped to bring some extra light to your day and encouraged you to find a deeper space of your very own soul goals. Until next time, friends, remember that everyone has a story and every story matters.